What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Countdown Scouting Network. I'm your host, Joey Garcia, and today we're gonna talk about Week 1 of college football. I apologize. We were supposed to have some episodes last week. Had a hurricane coming through where I live, and then I ended up getting sick too. I'm still dealing with it, so I have a cough going on, um, and I'm still a little congested, but it was just hard to really talk for more than 30 seconds at a time. So I'm going to fight through this one because I do want to talk about this one. This is probably going to be a longer episode. So just bear with me. I just want to break down, not even break down, just talk about some things from week 0 we'll start with, but then quickly get into week 1 and just talk about some cool things from prospects and teams as a whole and what we think it is going to do for college football as we go on. And then next week, we will start our scheduled, our schedule, our scheduled videos, with Mondays being what happened during college football the weekend, and then Wednesdays we'll break down what happened during NFL games that last weekend. And on Fridays, not every Friday, but I want to go forward and start doing a prospect highlight every Friday. Eventually, once we get more games up and we start realizing who's probably going to come out into the actual NFL draft, we'll start doing them on Fridays and maybe even sprinkle some in on the weekends too. Try to get a couple up per week. So next week we won't have anything, any prospect highlight most likely. But we will have Monday breaking down week 2 of college football, and then Wednesday breaking down week 1 of the NFL. So let's go ahead and get into this. So starting off with the San Jose State USC game that happened in week 0. USC's defense, I know we talked about them. Are they going to be able to tackle? It didn't really look like it. I know San Jose State's a decent team, and I like that Cordero, their quarterback. I think he's got some moxie to him. But USC's offense looked good, and just the defense is going to let them down again. I can't put faith in that defense, and I know I was talking about them as a top 10 team, but if they can't play defense, I can't have them that high. So Notre Dame. I think Sam Hartman looked like a beast for Notre Dame. Esme, the running back, looked really good. Their defensive line looked good. The offensive line looked really good. I know we talked about Blake Fisher at right tackle and Joe Alt at left tackle being studs that are going to go in the first and second round of this NFL draft coming up. And they look like the deal. Obviously, it's against Navy, so settle down a little bit. But let's see if they can push forward with that. We're not going to talk about UTEP, Jacksonville State, or UMass, or San Diego State, or Vanderbilt. Congratulations, Vanderbilt, for being number 1 in the SEC. And then we move on to actual week 1. So week 1, I know we talked about Utah. They have them ranked 14th. I think I had them ranked slightly higher than that. I was concerned about how the offense would move without Cam Rising and that Noah Johnson. And they also used another quarterback. I don't remember what his name was, but they did a good job. Noah Johnson used his wheels to kind of create. The other quarterback did what he could do as well. I'm a little concerned about Florida. The Napier disciplined system doesn't really seem like that's working. They were very unorganized, very disciplined, had a bunch of key, not even turnovers, they had a bunch of key penalties that kept Utah drives going or limited their drives where they're supposed to be getting touchdowns and they end up getting called back and missing field goals. So I don't think Florida played as bad as that score looks. They just played so unorganized and beat themselves. But Utah is the real deal. If you can hang in there and just basically dominate the game without Cam Rising, and just imagine when Cam Rising gets back in. I think this defense is really good. I think the offense is going to be manageable with Cam Rising. So I like that team a lot. I think that they have a really good chance of winning the Pac-12. All right, Kent State UCF. I know we talked about a couple guys with UCF. Terrence Lewis, the linebacker that we were talking about, highlighted in our linebacker preview. I don't know where he is. I couldn't find him on their roster. On Twitter, he says that he's still with the team. He didn't get any playing time. So I just wanted to throw that out there. John Rice Plumlee looked really good, except for when he didn't. He looked really, really good. It's just sometimes it looked like he predetermined. I don't know if it's because it's against Kent State and he just wants to throw up crazy numbers, but it looked like he predetermined the guy he wanted to throw it to every once in a while, and would try to zip it into these tight spots because the guy wasn't open. He's got to limit those turnovers. He did good on the ground. He looked good through the air, except for those times that he was just straight up staring down receivers. Got to limit that, and I think this offense is going to be really potent. Johnny Richardson looked good. Xavier Townsend looked like a beast at wide receiver and running back a little bit. But the real highlight of this team is R.J. Harvey, the running back from, I believe he's from Edgewater, Florida. He's small. He doesn't look small, but I looked up his profile. He's like 5'9", 180, but he looks 5'9", 200. So I don't know if he just beefed up and they forgot to update his thing, or if he just looks bigger because maybe guys around him are smaller. I don't know. He looks big, but he's super quick, super elusive, has really good hands out of the backfield. I'm excited to see more from him. The Wake Forest game, not really much there. I don't think Wake Forest is going to be that good this year. Don't have anything there. UConn, I know we were talking about their guard prospect, their tackle prospect. I didn't get to watch the game. I didn't break them down. Sorry. Minnesota, Nebraska. Nebraska, Jeff Sims did what I thought he would do in this game. He had a couple mistakes, a couple overthrows, a couple underthrows that really cost them points. That's kind of what you get with Jeff Sims. I think he needs another year in the system before he comes out into the NFL draft process. But he used his feet very well against a really good Minnesota defense. Minnesota ended up winning, and that's because of Nubin, the safety, made some big plays. I know we talked about him a little bit in our safety preseason breakdown. Tyler Nubin played really, really well for Minnesota. Missouri, no, I don't have anything to say. Tulsa, don't have anything to say. Arizona State, no. All right, we're getting to our Friday games now. So we're going to skip through some of these. Tyler Van Dyke, we'll talk about Miami versus Miami again. Or I guess not again, we haven't talked about them yet. Tyler Van Dyke didn't look that good. He had some throws where I was like, okay, this is the Tyler Van Dyke that was talked about as a first-round pick last year. And then he had other throws where I'm like, whoa, it's kind of like a Spencer Rattler type situation where it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll. I don't know which one. Jekyll and Hyde. That's what he looks like. They have that Parrish running back. He's explosive. I don't really know of him. And then the Louisville game, this is Haynes King maybe over here at Georgia Tech. He almost won the game for them. He looked pretty good, actually. And then I don't remember who's playing quarterback for Louisville. I didn't really watch the game. The Kansas game, I was excited. I was gonna put this game on. I'm so sorry. I should have tried to mute the mic. I tried to put this game on, and then I realized Jalen Daniels isn't playing right now. I don't know if he's still injured from last year or if this Bean kid just beat him out. I don't actually know. But he didn't play, and they still looked really, really dominant. They play Illinois next week. I wonder if they're going to end up winning that one. That's all I have from the game. It's just I was surprised. Where's Jalen Daniels? Stanford. No, that's okay. We don't got to talk about that. Air Force game. No. There we go. Georgia versus UT Martin. 48-7. It did not look like this at the beginning of the game or at halftime. It was 17-0 at halftime, and Georgia looked like they were not like they were in trouble to win the game, but this team did not look good. Kendall Milton trying to run the ball, had a couple backup running backs trying to run the ball. They could not move the line of scrimmage. And Carson Beck kind of just looked like he was all over the place. He looked like a freshman playing quarterback And that's not going to, I don't care what Georgia has around them, that's not going to win the national championship. So I had them at number one. We're going to keep them at number one. I'm not changing my rankings right now. We're just monitoring. And in my head, I'll keep them at number one right now. But I'm thinking about Carson Beck better come out next week and have a crisp game, or else they might be in trouble this year. Brock Bowers and Darius Mims, the freak 6'7", 330-pound tackle that they have. He looked good. He moved. I was nervous because he kind of leaned. In the 2 college football games that I watched him play in last year, he was leaning over. His feet were kind of sloppy. I know it's UT Martin. But he moved well, and it seemed like he really worked on it this summer. He's looking like a pretty good tackle. Again, it's against UT Martin. And Brock Bowers is the other one. Brock Bowers, again, UT Martin. But Brock Bowers was breaking tackles, doing spin moves, hurdling guys, stiff-arming guys. It looked funny. It just really did. Brock Bowers looked like a beast out there. And he is one. So at least he decided to step up in the, tune-up game that they have. So I'm excited to see what they do next week, but Carson Beck needs to figure it out. Michigan versus East Carolina. ECU did not look good at all. I know it says Blake Corum, 10 rushes for 73 yards and a touchdown. Blake Corum looked good. He bounced off tacklers. He looked like the Blake Corum that we saw before the injury. Maybe not as explosive, but maybe that's just my mind playing tricks on me. Donovan Edwards, the running back number 7 that we talked about that I had ranked higher than him, more of a pass catcher, he didn't do very well at all. He had one huge gain, and the rest of his touches, I think he had if you take away the one big game that he had on that reception, and the one medium-sized game that he had on a run, I think the rest of his touches were 15 for 32 yards or something like that. It was something abysmal. The offensive line, it's supposed to be one of the better offensive lines in college football for the past few years. They couldn't move the line. And you would think, okay, well, maybe they were loading the box because they didn't want them to run. J.J. McCarthy, he had 280 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, but he didn't look good. It was a bunch of 5-6 yard completions. So they couldn't take the top off of ECU, and they couldn't run on ECU. You're Michigan. You can't run on ECU. You can't take the top off vertically. You got Cornelius Johnson for jump balls. You've got transfers coming in. You have 5-star wide receivers, and you can't take the top off. Everything's within 10 yards. I don't think they had a single pass over 15 yards in this game. I could be wrong. I'm almost positive. Everything was within 10 yards. So, yeah, you closed the box up a little bit. So Michigan I'm concerned about as well. I don't know if it's the offensive line, if it's the offensive coordinator play calling, but I'm monitoring that offensive situation. Defense looked fine. Defense looked good. Ohio State, kind of the same situation with them. Let's see. They've got tons of talent on the offense. Now let's get a quarterback in here that can do something with it. And Kyle McCord did not look like the guy. Kyle McCord taken over for C.J. Stroud, and he did not look good. Yes, you're going up against Indiana, so you don't have East Carolina or you don't have UT Martin that you're playing, but, it's Indiana. You guys blow the brakes off Indiana every single year. You have offensive weapons. He's just got to dump it down to him, and he did not look good. 239 yards, 1 interception, no touchdowns. That was his stat line. He was also, I think his QBR was in the 40s. Running the ball, Travion Henderson. I said if Travion Henderson is the guy that he was his freshman year, they're going to dominate, and he's going to be a first-round pick. He looked like last year's Travion Henderson. So I am concerned a little bit about if that injury is still lingering with him, and if it is, how much it's actually going to affect him. Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't really do much this game. He got 2 receptions for, I think, 18 yards. We could actually look at the box score on this one because there was a running back that looked decent. Yeah, Chip. He's a senior. 8 for 57, had a long as 17 yards. Mayan Williams, the bowling ball. He got the 2 touchdowns. I think he got really like a bunch of goal line stuff. Um, Going down to the receiving stats, the tight end Cade Stover looked good. Julian Fleming Senior, he's kind of been waiting his turn. He had a breakout game, but again, like this was a long because it was up the seam and then he broke a tackle. You got this one. Everything else is a 9 yard, 15. These are their longest. So I don't know if Kyle McCord couldn't break through the defense, but I mean, you got Emeka Egbuka. He's just kind of sitting there. Marvin Harrison Jr., probably the best prospect in the draft right now. You get him 2 touches? He got 2 touches. In a game you only won by 20 and that you were only leading 10-3 at halftime. 2 touches to the best player in college football right now. This isn't he's the best receiver. This isn't he's the best player in college football. I don't there's really not much debate in that. He's the best player in college football right now. You got him 2 touches. I don't know. That's just inexcusable. I don't know who's be the offensive coordinator right now. If it is Brian Hartline, I don't know if he's back yet. I haven't done any research into it because I know he got in that scooter accident or whatever he got in. He was in the hospital for a few days. That was a while ago. That was a couple months ago. I haven't looked it up. I'm assuming he's offensive coordinator, but I don't know if Ryan Day's making the play calls. But dude, you got to when your quarterback is struggling, you have to scheme plays open and get plays to your playmakers and let them do stuff. You notice when Georgia was struggling, what did they do? Sorry, I'm still scrolling down. When Georgia was struggling, you know what they did? Got the ball to Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers made a play. And that's me still being scared with them. Ohio State, I don't know. Alabama, not done with you either. This was Middle Tennessee. Yes, 14 points, 14 points, 14 points, 14 points. It didn't look that good, though. Again, it's a tune-up game. It's with a quarterback that you haven't had playing really. I think he played in 2 games last year and it didn't look that good. 194 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. That's kind of what we wanted from him. I'm not hating on Milroe. I think Milroe did a fine job in the game. He didn't do phenomenal, but he did a fine job. Alabama did not look dominant, though. Yes, they outscored their opponents 14-0, 14-0, 14-7, and 14-0. But it just didn't look that dominant. In the running game, they had a couple seniors and a junior, seniors and then that freshman running. It was Jace McClellan was the first guy, 10 for 39. He had 1 for 20, by the way, which means that it was 9 for 19, other than that 20-yard run. 13 of 18. He did what he needed to do. I'm not hating on Milroe at all. This is kind of the game plan. Was let's get him some easy yards. Let's get him some deep throws. Let's get him some check downs. And that's it. We're not asking him to read the middle of the field. We're supposed to be relying on the run game. And it just wasn't really there. Roydell Williams was the other guy, 7 for 36. And he's that senior I was talking about. Then you have Justice Haynes, who's a freshman. Richard Young, I believe, is also the other true freshman. Jam Miller is a senior as well. So they got 2 true freshmen in here and then 3 seniors. And it didn't look like that dominant Alabama running game or anything like that. They did fine. That's not for me to hate on them. I'm just saying let's see when they get into a real game. I'm slightly worried about it. That's where I'm going with that. Going back to USC for their second game since they played in week 0. They played Nevada on this one. Defense did a little bit better. Defense still didn't do great, and it's against Nevada. I mean, this Nevada receiver went 8 for 120 yards and a touchdown. Okay? Rushing was good for USC. They finally got a good rushing performance out of them. Caleb Williams looks like the Heisman frontrunner. I know we're going to talk about Colorado soon and Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Caleb Williams is still the frontrunner. 2 very dominant games for him. USC looks fine. Defense still didn't look great, though. Penn State, Drew Ayler looked really, really good. Obviously, Penn State's not going to blow people out, but blowing out West Virginia, 23 points on over West Virginia, going 38-15, is good. I really like that a lot. The receiver Lambert Smith, who transferred, I think he transferred in. He did really well as a deep threat. Drew Ayler looked good. The two running backs, Allen and Singleton, they're studs. They really are. I mean, they dominated the ground game, and that defense looked good. West Virginia's not a great offense, but the defense still looked really, really good. So I got to give that to them. Washington, Michael Penix Jr. is a beast. I told you guys that's my favorite quarterback in the college football right now is Michael Penix Jr. And if he's not injured, if you take the sliders on Madden and turn injuries off, Michael Penix Jr. is the second best quarterback in this draft. And he looked like it, dude. He didn't run at all. He did not run. He decided, I'm going to show them what I can do with my arm. 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. Yes, it's against Boise State. Their defense isn't great. But it wasn't against UT Martin. It's against Boise freaking State. Rome Odunze, I say his name wrong every single time. Looked amazing. Those two are awesome together. Let's continue. Got Texas. Texas is back. They sputtered a little bit at the beginning, but they ended up kind of getting into it in the second half. Quinn Ewers did not look that good. Xavier Worthy looked good. Running game did not look very good. So I'm a little worried about Quinn Ewers. When are they going to start asking for Arch? I don't think Arch is ready, but when are they going to start asking for him? Tennessee, Joe Milton looked really good. The receivers around him did not. They dropped a ton of balls. Their running game, they got this guy right here, dog. Jalen Wright, dog. Where did he come from? I'm almost positive he transferred in. I don't know how to look at it on bio. I think it's in bio. No, he didn't transfer. He didn't transfer in, but dude, he is electric. Look at him over here. You can see him in the corner over here. Yeah, he's awesome. I actually really like him. 5'11", 210 pounds. That's kind of the way I like my running backs built anyways. But the receivers around, I didn't find any Tennessee receivers, and I'm like, oh, look, it's Jalen Hyatt. It's Cedric Tillman. It's Josh Palmer. Like, I didn't see anyone that convinced me that they've got good receivers around him. And I think they're going to struggle from that. One, he's going to be a little inaccurate because Joe Milton is inaccurate sometimes. And then other times it's going to be the receiver's fault where they just, one, aren't getting open, or two, just completely dropping balls. Notre Dame against Tennessee State, yeah, they look like the same Notre Dame. Sam Hartman didn't play that much, which is perfect. He looked good when he was playing. Again, that running back, dude. They got a couple running backs there, but this dude looks good. I like Esime. I call him Esime. I don't know. I've heard someone call him Esime. So that's what I'm calling him. I don't know. Audric Esime. He's a junior, 5'11", 227. Dude's a beast, man. That's not, I don't think that's him right there. No, that's not him. That's not him. But, hey, I'm very much enjoying watching Notre Dame football right now. And they're looking really electric. Sam Hartman is he might take them to the college football playoffs. I don't want to jump the gun, but I really, really enjoy watching that kid play. All right, we are here. Oregon, 81 points. Yes, it's Portland State. They scored 81 points. Bo Nix looked good. Their running game, really, no matter who was in there on the running game, looked really good. Troy Franklin, the dog, the transfer, the receiver. That dude's a beast as well. I don't really know what else to say. But, yeah, he looked crisp. Him and Bo Nix, the connection there, awesome. Kansas State with Will Howard. They looked fine. Will Howard did what he had to do, but they didn't look great. This Giddens kid, they got two transfer running backs. I clicked on him again. Dang it. DJ Giddens, that's who it was. Trayshawn Ward was the other running back. Trayshawn Ward started, but DJ Giddens, it's like a 50-50 split right now. There's a chance that Kansas State and Giddens look better than Ward. There's a chance that Kansas State starts doing like more of a 70-30 split with Giddens and Trayshawn Ward. And Trayshawn Ward transferred there from I don't know what just happened. Trayshawn Ward transferred there from Florida State because he wasn't getting play time. Um, and he might be stuck behind DJ Giddens, who's a sophomore. But Giddens looked very, very good on this team. All right, we are about to break down Colorado and TCU, but I have to go let my cat in really quickly, so I will be right back.